So let's go ahead and get started this morning. Thank you again for joining me. Welcome to the Learning Lab. Today, it's a pretty timely discussion. We're going to talk about Buyside, and we're going to talk about all the different facets of Buyside and what goes into our Buyside product. On my screen, you'll see a whole bunch of tabs. I promise we'll get to all of them soon. But the one thing I want you to notice on the screen is this is something called Percy AI. Just as a note, as we go through the system and as we talk about some of the resources that are available and things like that, know that Percy AI is the parent company for Buyside. Buyside is actually one of their products. So just know that if we send out something for a help document, or if you have any questions or things like that, that Percy AI and Buyside are one and the same. So we'll use those interchangeably today. So we're going to talk about all the different aspects of Buyside today. We're going to go through pretty much the four main components of Buyside. We're going to talk about the home value site. We're also going to talk about the BMA, or the buyer market analysis. We're going to talk about how to enter buyers and coming soon listings into the system. And then we're also going to talk about that buyer and seller match. In between all of that today, we're also going to share some resources and some AI prompts, and we're going to show you some internal pieces that you can use to help along this journey with using the Buyside tool. So we have a lot of interconnected tools that you can use to prospect even further. So before we get, let's go ahead and I'm going to get rid of this screen here, and we're going to go straight to a website. I wanted to let you know that you do not have to have a company website in order to use Buyside. Everybody does have a home value site and a Buyside dashboard, even if you don't have a company site builder website. However, Site Builder is completely built into all of our company websites. We happen to be on Ralston's website today. As you know, if you've taken any of my other classes, we use this as an example. It's always a good site for you guys to go to if you want to see all the different facets and things that your website can do. It's why it looks a little busy. But I want you to notice that we have a lot of links in here. Normally, the How Much Is Your Home Worth tool, or the public-facing home value site, is either in your navigation bar, or depending on your site, you may also have a call out for it as well. So call outs look a little bit different. On this site, we happen to have a custom call out where we were able to make this, but sometimes you'll see a home value with an icon as well on your website. If you don't have the home value site on your Site Builder website, either as a call out or in your navigation bar, you can certainly check in with your ASC in your office, your agent services coordinator, or you can send a little quick message to web support and we'll be happy to add it for you. But most of you guys should have it already. If you click on the How Much Is Your Home Worth tool, it will bring up the home value website. Now, remember, everybody has their own individual link, and you'll notice that the link is going to be pretty much the same for everybody, except the name is going to change up here. It's going to be homevalue.rwtown.com/ your first name and last name. Just as a quick note, if you do not see your picture and your information on this site, when you click on it or when you use it, you're at the wrong destination. You should always see your picture and your name on the site. If you have trouble finding your site, I'm going to show you how you can look that up in your dashboard here shortly. So this is the public-facing home value site. This is a our agents in the company, probably one of the top lead generators we have for lots and lots of different reasons. I'm going to go into what this public-facing report looks like, and then we're going to go into some tools that you can try to help generate even more business for it. So this tool makes it so that you just have to enter an address here, and it can be any address. So this works all the way across the country too. So for those of you who might be working a lot of relocation or maybe with military clients, they can also look up any address. It is going to try to match the address. I have picked a completely random address today. It's nice to ask ChatGPT on occasion to just give me a random address. In Virginia Beach, and it's trying to match it here. So it is going to give us all the little different options, and then I'm going to go ahead and click it. We're just going to give it a second. And this is what's going to come up. I want you to note here that this does not require anybody to put in a username. It doesn't require a phone number. The lead generation at this point in time is just that you have noted that somebody has checked the value of this property. So in the background, a few seconds ago, Ralston received an email that said, hey, somebody at 1616 Wasserman Court in Virginia Beach checked the value of their home, and it's going to give him the name of the property owner that's in the tax record. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that that is the person who checked the value. It's a really interesting phenomenon for us that some people are a little wary of tools because they think it's going to require them to enter a whole bunch of information. So sometimes they enter their next door neighbor, and then about 3 seconds later, you'll see an address come up and it's right next door. It's pretty often that the next door one that came in afterwards is usually the one who's actually checking for the value of their property because they have figured out that you don't need to enter a lot of information. However, we do have a lot of lead generators on the site. Anytime you see anything with a little edit pencil, or anytime you see any buttons that are nice and bright over here, it usually means that it is a lead generator of some sort and it's trying to gather information. So just starting at the top, you do have multiple places in this report where people can claim that they're the owner, and that allows them to change basic information. If they want to do any of these kind of claiming or editing, if they click that, it's going to make them put in some information. This becomes a much stronger lead at this point. It's going to require first name, last name, phone number, and then an email address. They can also continue with any of their socials. If someone were to claim the ownership or click on some of these other buttons where they need to contact you as an agent, again, this becomes a much stronger lead, but it also gives you all of the information for the person who's actually looking at this. They do have the ability to edit some of the property details as well. So maybe this is a 3-bedroom, but a 2.5 bath, and this is wrong. And again, anytime they try to edit something, it's going to require them to add more information. They also have the ability to get the monthly report update on this property. So if they enter their first name, last name, and email address and hit get now, they'll go ahead and get a monthly email that basically tells them to come back to this same site to check the value of their home. And it's going to give them that direct link. This is probably the strongest lead generator that makes a hot lead that we have on this system is the monthly update. We receive a lot of monthly update requests. When I look at the overall system for all the different agents in here, the nice thing is in your dashboard, you can also sign up people to receive monthly reports as well. Also, if you want to use that as a generator. We'll go ahead and look at that when we get back to the dashboard, but I want you to notice that that's one of the top lead generators we have in here. So scrolling on down, I want you to notice we still have all this agent branded information. We have more agent branded information that's going to be sticky and follow us around here. But it's going to start to go to the home values, and it's going to give 3. Now, these 3 can change based on your location. Sometimes we will see Zillow pop up here too with the Zestimate. Sometimes there may not be 3. It's going to try really hard to give us 3, and it's going to be a couple of different we have regular public data for tax records. There's a couple of data aggregators that are in here as well, but it's basically trying to come up with some kind of value. And you'll notice that the range is enormous. So for this particular property, we're going from, it looks like 464 all the way up to 545. I'm not 100% sure what this home would actually be worth. Which is where I am with the public in the same respect here. But we know that this range is huge. And hopefully, if they're interested in a more in-depth report from an expert, we have all of these different contact buttons here as well. Just note, I happen to look up a property in Virginia Beach. This does work for North Carolina. It does work for all of our different rural properties as well, but the amount of data that's coming in might be a little bit less depending on the area that you're looking at. We also have what is the condition of the property, and they can claim it as the owner. Believe it or not, this is the number 2 lead generator, because when people see these values up here and they say, oh, I know my home is worth a lot more than that, one of the first things they try to do is change it to excellent, hoping it will change the numbers up here. The 2 pieces don't have anything to do with each other, but it is a great lead generator for us as they try to, again, change information about the property. If you have not taken this class recently with Buyside, one of the things you may not know is that we added an equity component last year. So this gives even more information about the property. Now, sometimes this is a little scary for people, but I promise you this is all public information that we're pulling up here. And it's trying to find the equity in the home. So based on the public records, this particular home is on a 30-year loan at 2.73. And it's from February in 2021. And again, if somebody needs to edit these details, maybe they've been making extra payments and the system doesn't have that in it For whatever reason, they can go ahead and edit those details, but again, they have to give us some information to do that. Normally, we're going to hit all good, and it's going to give us our equity on here as well. So this equity in this home, right now, it's estimated at $63,000. And it's also going to start to give them some information about what they've paid, any interest paid, and how much is obviously left on the loan based on the information that it has. It's going to give us some refinancing options. Now, for this particular property, we know that a 2.73 is hard to overcome if you want to refinance it right now. So we're going to have some red X's here to let us know that refinancing is probably not in our best interest on this one. It's going to let us have some interest rates on here. But I will tell you, for some of the properties that have been sold or have been sold for a long time and are still sitting on higher interest rates, sometimes these are green. So just do keep an eye out on that as well. It's going to ask them what they can do if they pay a little bit extra. All of these are different sliders here. If they pay an extra, let's say $500 a month, they can save that much interest. And again, we're continuing anytime we see these buttons. These are all lead generators on here. What they can do with their equity. So we're just trying to give them some ideas of what they might be able to do with some of the equity in their home. If they sell, they can buy a new home, they can pocket the cash, they can make some home improvements, add some more space. I think we'd all love to splurge on a dream vacation at this point, and even pay down some student loans. So that's just giving them some ideas of what they can do with the equity in their home. Before I move on from the equity component, I did want to let you know that on occasion, we do have a property that comes in that has 100% equity because they don't have a loan on it, in which case the estimated equity will be an average of the home values that you saw on the top of the page. So it's not going to go into all the different loan options and everything else. The equity will just be 100%. So just know that that's there. So you'll be missing all these like minor components right here. As I continue to scroll down on this report, trying not to scroll my screen too fast here, we're going to come up with starting with some of the information about the buyers in this system. So we know what buyers are searching for. So it's a buyer heat map. Remember, the darker the color, the more buyer activity is located in the area. Obviously, I picked a home in Virginia Beach because I needed to show you guys all the different buyer data that was in the system. I wanted a lot to work with, but do notice that we do have some lighter areas around in our area here. So the lighter the color, again, less buyer data, something to certainly consider when you're talking to clients when we start getting into the BMA section. It's also going to give them some information about buyer activity in the price range and also by bedroom. Now, I picked a property in this price range for a very specific reason, because this starts to have that conversation with the buyer. They can start to see, okay, my home might be worth $499.9, or it could be worth $505. If I list at $499.9, look how many more buyer activities are in the area. So in this one, it's 529,000 buyer activities. And if we go over the 500 mark, we're only at 351. This starts a really interesting conversation about pricing. One of the questions that comes up is what happens if it is a luxury property? Do know that these price ranges do change in the different ranges if the property value goes up as well. Again, we also get the buyer activity by bedroom type as well. And this does change per area. I've actually seen these values be very, very different. We have another section here called the buyer activity in the last 90 days. And these statistics reflect all buyer activity, including registered buyers, online inquiries, showing visits, open house, and sign-ins. This information here is aggregated from a lot of different sources. It does include all of our company websites and agent websites in the data. It also includes Zillow. But there are now data aggregators that allow us to have a snapshot into a lot of the buyer activities in the area, including things like showing time and showing requests for those companies that are using it. It starts out really big. So here's 130 million online activities in Virginia. Now, don't forget, online activities can be anything. It could be somebody who's just typing in, I want to search for a home in Virginia Beach. That's going to be an online activity. It's going to be potentially somebody who was a registered buyer on somebody's side. It could be something, an open house sign-in coming from one of the companies that provides electronic sign-ins and things like that. We're going to continue the funnel down here, and now we get into online activities within a 5-mile radius of that address. So now we're down to 7 million. The next one down is online activities within a 5-mile radius and within the home's price range. So we're down to 346. And then we get down to online activities within a 5-mile radius, within the home's price range, looking for up to a 3-bedroom. So now we're down to 199,000 activities. That's still a lot. Again, I picked a home that would have a lot of buyer data in it. I've seen these numbers be enormous, especially for a very well-priced home in a very, very active market. And I've seen these numbers be really small, especially for something maybe really rural or a really unique property. And right now, this gets down to the best part of our system, the featured buyers searching for a home in right now in the area. And this is, again, going to be based on that price range. It's going to be based on a whole criteria. So 12 is fantastic. And this is looking for the 23454 zip code. And it's going to be looking in that different price range. It's going to be looking for the different criteria that we've put in here. I want you to notice that all of this buyer data is anonymized. The only thing that the public can see on this side is a buyer ID, a general range, and then also kind of a general range of what somebody is looking for. We're not seeing any additional data. None of this is clickable. Okay, so this is all they're seeing. It's just showing the power of our network within RW Town that we have, again, 12 potential buyers for their property. If they want to find out who those buyers are, they need to contact you. The rest of this report is just going to go into some trends. And it's going to show some nearby sales. Again, none of these are clickable on here. And then it's going to say, do you need a customized CMA? You can contact your agent. And then again, do you want to receive monthly updates on this property? And you can put in your first name, last name, email address, and get now. So this is the public facing report. This is a wonderful piece. It's, again, a great lead generator for us. And there's a lot of things that we can do with this home value report to try to not only encourage people to use it, but also do some follow-up. So before I go to the next steps in Buyside, I want to show you some tools that we have that will really help you with prospecting and with lead generation for this particular tool. I'm going to go back to Ralston's website really quickly here. And I am just going to start out with something really simple, which is I want to show you how easy it is to share this and what it looks like if you share it to something in social media. I'm going to use Facebook today, but of course you could share this to whatever social media. You can share your link or you can share your images on here. I'm just going to copy that. I'm over here in Facebook. Of course, this is my training account. And I want to show you how easy it is to just pop that in. And I want you to notice that it is trying to bring in an image. The fancy term for this is called an OG image. And what that means is it's a specific image just for social media. They work great on Facebook. And it's letting people know that if thinking of selling, we have buyers, and it's just a nice generic piece that's just kind of a nice lead generator. Of course, you can use your own image if you want to. You can always just X out of that. But of course, you're going to want to go ahead and put in a lead driving message up here at the top as well. I have a couple of AI prompts for you today, just to kind of tickle your brain a little bit and kind of encourage you to put in some social media prompts on here. I am going to make these available after class as well. I'll go ahead and drop the link into chat when we're done here. But I did want you to know that I have popped those already. Oops, I'm all the way down here at the bottom. I'm going to use ChatGPT today just for ease of use. You could certainly use whatever AI engine you like. I happen to be a fan of ChatGPT and Claude, but this will work in any of your favorite AI engines. So I wrote something really simple here. And again, these prompts are going to be available to you. Write a social media post for a real estate agent in Virginia Beach that creates curiosity about home values without being salesy. The post should reference a surprising local market trend, like how values in a specific neighborhood have changed recently, and end with a soft call to action directing people to check their home's value at, and I've just popped in a link here. Keep it under 150 words, and here's my tone. Don't use the phrase, how much is your home worth? How many times have you been scrolling on social media? And I know you guys are all friends with lots of different realtors and you like different realtor pages and you see how much is your home worth? How much is your home worth? How much is your home worth? There's a time and a place for how much is your home worth. I like to say it once, but then I like to start getting into some of the other prompts instead and other ways to say how much is your home worth without saying how much is your home worth. So this one wrote me a quick message here. Something interesting is happening in Virginia Beach right now. In parts of Great Neck and nearby neighborhoods, we've seen home values shift in ways that don't always match what people expect. Some homes are quietly gaining more equity than nearby comps would suggest, while others are leveling off after the past couple of years. It's being really honest here. It's not just about price points anymore. It's about timing, demand pockets, and what buyers are actually prioritizing. If you've been curious about how your home fits into all of this, there's an easy way to look. No pressure, just data, and it includes a link. We can copy and paste something like this really easily in here, back Facebook here. And of course, it went ahead and included my link. It's going to bring in that image. And I'm just going to go ahead and post it. The other thing I'll make available to you guys as well is from previous classes, I have 100 ways to say how much is your home worth without saying how much is your home worth, and I will give you all of those different calls to action as well. So this is what it looks like on here. And of course, you can write something that's a little bit shorter, a little bit longer. You can certainly personalize this more, and all of this is clickable. So if we click that, it's going to go straight to Ralston's Buyside. A couple of different prompts that we have in here as well, just for social media. Like write a social media post that educates home buyers about the concept of home equity. So let's talk about something other than the home values. Let's talk about that home equity component. Mentioned that many homeowners in Chesapeake, Virginia, and of course this is just a fill-in, may be sitting on more equity than they realize due to recent appreciation. And with an invitation to see where their updated home value at, here's the website, and keep it educational and not pushy and under 150 words. So now it's talking about how much is your home worth without talking about how much is your home worth, and it's just talking about that home equity component. It's a way to just generate interest without just offering something of just the home value. It's also talking about everything else that's in there. This is one that's talking about, this prompt right here is write a social media post for a real estate agent promoting a free service where home buyers can receive a monthly update on their home value. And again, we're talking about how much is your home worth, but we're talking about the different lead generator aspects that are in there. Hey, not only are we going to give you a report, but you can get this report for free really often so that you can keep checking up on the property. And this is what it gave me when it popped it back out again. Think of this as a monthly financial checkup for your house. Your home is likely your biggest asset, and value can shift more than you might expect. Staying informed can help with decisions like refinancing, tracking your net worth, or simply understanding buyer demand in your area. So it's talking about all the value points that are in that how much is your home worth, but again, without saying how much is your home worth. You can even get really, really specific. So for those of you who are looking at doing a lot of neighborhood prospecting, or your socials are really, really plugged into your various neighborhoods, these are also a great way to post often about specific neighborhoods or areas, because we know that those will show up in feeds when people are searching for things like that. This is a great prompt just for a neighborhood. So write 3 different social media posts, each under 80 words, about home values in, I picked Kiln Creek and Newport News. Each post should take a different angle, a question that sparks a conversation, a fun fact about the neighborhood tied to property values, and a testimonial style post where an agent shares how a homeowner was surprised by their home's current value. I should link back. Here's my link again. Do not use generic phrases like thinking of selling or wondering what your home is worth. So again, we're trying to have that be conversational, a little less salesy, and try to stand out from the crowd a little bit. So here's the 3 things that came up with. Quick question from my Kiln Creek neighbors. Have you noticed how some homes are getting more attention lately? That would certainly grab my attention. A little fun fact about Kiln Creek, it's about near the golf course and the walking trails. Be careful here. I left this one in because we might want to rephrase the walking trails a little bit. Remember, it is your responsibility to make sure that anything that you generate in AI is also fair housing compliant. We might want to talk about the golf course and maybe the clubhouse instead, or the pool or the playground. Had a homeowner in Newport News message me after checking their value in Kiln Creek. They expected a modest increase, but the jump in equity over the past couple of years generally surprised them. So it's giving us a couple of different things here. For those of you who like to do video as well, there is a great video prompt that's going to be included in here that just talks about, hey, I want to go ahead and stand in front of a home or in front of a neighborhood, and the script should talk about how the local market has been moving, mention a specific stat or trend, and then let viewers know to check their home's value at my website. So it went ahead and gave me a little 60-second video script here that's really easy to record. It's just supposed to be an agent with their camera in their hand, basically saying, hey, I've been watching the market pretty closely. Things are really moving. Homeowners are sitting on more value than they realize. It's not a one-size-fits-all market right now. And if you're curious about where your home stands and all this, you can check your value anytime. No pressure. Just go to ralstonaudain.com. So lots of different social posts and lots of different ways to share this. And again, I want to make sure that you guys are making this unique in your own. The prompts when I send you that document will include places where you can just go ahead and fill in any kind of city or neighborhood. You can also change the tone. Feel free to update those any way you want to. They're here inspiration. The document as well, again, just there for inspiration. You can mix and match. You can make it your own. You can even throw that document back into ChatGPT and say, hey, make this in my tone as well, and maybe give it, get some more prompts and some more answers out of that as well. Couple of other resources that we have available to us for the how much is your home worth tool for trying to prospect after the fact. So sometimes when, again, I'm on my home value tool here, and Ralston received that email that said, hey, somebody at 1616 Wasserman Court checked the value of their home. If they have not claimed the property or if they haven't received the monthly update, we're not always 100% sure if that was the actual homeowner or not. When we're not 100% sure, who in that neighborhood might have been checking. We have a couple of really, really good direct mail resources that are available in RWT Connect through some of our third-party vendors that really help narrow down the how much is your home worth tool, and also helps identify the people who are potentially checking a neighborhood. If I were an agent and I needed to prospect, one of the first things I would do is if I got a notification that somebody at this particular address had checked, I would be sending out maybe a small postcard campaign just around this particular house in this radius. And I could do that and try to generate even more business, number one, but also try to identify potentially who was the individual person who actually checked. And it, again, could have been, it could have been that actual home as well. Couple of resources that we have. Let me go to my dashboard. So I am in RWT Connect right now. This is, of course, our gateway to all of our different tools. And the two that I'm going to focus on today are going to be right here in ExpressDocs and also CoreFact. So there's two very specific things that are in both of these different portals. And of course, we use ExpressDocs the most, but CoreFact has a really interesting product I want to talk about today for you guys. I'm going to start with ExpressDocs. So ExpressDocs has a bunch of different home value postcards that are already built into it. And they also have an entire series of home value lead capture in here as well. It's one of the main buttons that's right in ExpressDocs. So as soon as you sign in, it's right at the very top of your ExpressDocs quick buttons here. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the home values and just know that we have all of these different home value captures and all of these different postcards that have already been written for you. So some of these are what's your home really worth in today's market, curious about what your home is really worth. We have a couple about discovering your home's worth and sell with confidence. We have some that say we have buyers. Here's a great one about we have buyers right here. So this is a great option, especially if you maybe have not sent out just listed just sold cards recently. Maybe you're looking to do some more active neighborhood marketing. Maybe this is a great thing to send out again to your sphere of influence on here as well, that we do have all of these different home value cards in here. Now you'll notice that it's a little small right here, but we do have QR codes built into the majority of these postcards. And of course, we can certainly use the QR code going to your home value site right here so that people can immediately click and connect and get the value of their home. I would certainly be interested to see if more people in the neighborhood were clicking the value to check the value, but you can also use, again, all those different calls to action that we had for social media work great on the back of these postcards too. Hey, it's more than just how much is your home worth. Do you want to find out what you can do with your equity or if your equity has increased? Do you want to find out what the buyer demand is? Do you want to sign up for a monthly report? You can use and recycle a lot of those calls to action right on these direct mail postcards as well. This is a nice, easy one to do. I want to go over to CoreFact now. Now, CoreFact is, again, here's RWT Connect. We just looked at ExpressDocs. CoreFact is right here in that middle button here. If you're on a desktop or tablet. CoreFact has a very, very unique product. It's one of the only companies that we have that does this. It's one of my favorite things in our system. And it is great for doing a lot of prospecting where you want to identify very, very specifically who might be checking the value of their home. Corfact has a product called trackable URL QR codes. We affectionately call these pearls. They are personalized URLs. It's a PURL. They have home value postcards where every single one of those QR codes is specific to an address. If you send out those postcards to a radius or a neighborhood or even your sphere of influence, and that particular postcard arrives at 123 Main Street, and that person clicks on or scans the QR code right there, or enters, there's an option to also enter a small code if they want to, if they don't want to click a QR code. It actually lets you know via email, and we also have a lead generation dashboard here in Corfact to let you know that the person at 123 Main Street is the person who scanned that QR code. It is the only system that we have that does it. It's great for identifying people who are definitely looking at the value of their home, because you don't have to guess who it is. They don't have to put any information in. And it is a great option for those of you who are doing pretty heavy neighborhood marketing, but also who have a need to contact your sphere of influence and try to generate buyers or sellers, excuse me, on here as well. So you can certainly take a look at those. You can either click those with the direct mail campaigns with trackable URL codes. It's also available over here on the left-hand side under postcards. And we have full options over here as well for all of the different postcards that contain those trackable URL codes for how much is your home worth. Two really, really fantastic options on here. A couple of other resources that we have available for you as well, just to kind of generate leads toward that home value site. I am going to go ahead and click into BHHS resource. I've actually already opened this already. So going into BHHS resource, that heads up to, of course, the BHHS resource, the global intranet. And there's a couple of resources up here. I need to move a bar on my side over here that you can take a look at. One of the ones that we have in the resource center is the social media resource. So for those of you who are using Soci, and by the way, just a little hint, we do have classes on Soci coming up in May. So if you haven't used it yet and you're interested in using it, go ahead and keep an eye out for those May classes that are coming up. If I click on social media resource, don't want to log out here. Just know that in our libraries that are available for you for posting on social media, so I've gone down to my libraries over here. We do have a library here called How Much Is My Home Worth? These are images and text that have already been created for you, so that makes it nice and easy to share on your socials. So if I click on this, we've already created it. So it's created by over here. And so we have these great images that are in here that say, ever wonder what your home might be worth in today's market? It's not always a simple number. It's definitely not one size fits all. Here's a personalized report. Click here. And of course, the link goes over to your customized URL. For how much is your home worth. But we do have the library that's in here. So we have all these calls to action. We do have the images. And if you actually want to schedule this through Soci for one of your connected socials, you just have to click this little calendar over here with the plus sign, and it will ask you for what date you would like this to post, and you can go ahead and schedule it. The nice thing about Soci is you can also schedule multiples. So if you feel like posting how much is your home worth in today's market, this kind of same message and image once a month, you can actually go ahead and schedule those right at that same time. All right, moving on from Soci, I'm now looking in the marketing resource over here. So this is the marketing resource button up in Resource Center. I'm in the full library. So what I did is I clicked on the master library up here at the top, and it's going to give me every single piece of assets and marketing available in the entire library. I added the phrase into the search bar, how much is your home worth? And it sorted it out into just these items that are available in marketing resource for how much is your home worth. One of the things I want you to note is we do have social images in here as well. So here's a social image on how to estimate your home's current value. These are great to use on your social media. You can go ahead and add a link. We have some explainers in here for things like e-cards of how much is your home worth. It basically says just click here, add an address, get your free report, and then encourages people to sign up for a monthly report. Scrolling down, I want you to notice that we also have some digital ads in here that also have what is your home worth. I'm going to go ahead and click on those just because they're really hard to see when they're so tiny, and it's probably a product you don't see very often. do a lot with e-cards, but we don't do a lot with digital marketing in here. Just going to show you the preview of what these look like. So these are available in the system. And these are all How Much Is Your Home Worth digital ads that run through Chalk Digital. Don't forget, Chalk Digital allows you to run digital ads against a radius, any kind of geocoding pin. It also allows you to run against your sphere of influence. So for those of you who have your contacts in RWT Connect, and we're pushing those up to the BHHS resource, we have a great connection there that allows us to share some data. You would be able to target the people that are in your database with ads like this through Chalk Digital. Now, I know I'm not going into all the different how-tos. I'm just kind of snipping into all the different tools and assets and things like that that are available to you. Of course, if you have any questions on the how-tos, you can certainly ask your ASCs in your office. They've all been trained on all of these different pieces. And of course, you can always ask us down here in marketing and web support as well. So I know we're kind of going through this quickly, but I do want you to know that we are happy to help you with anything that I've shown you today. And then, of course, last but certainly not least on this, before we move on to a couple of other pieces in Buyside today, I want you to know too, just for lead generation, again, we do have in RWT Connect, under the marketing tab, we have something called action plans. These are drip campaigns. One of the drip campaigns we have is the Home Value Week drip campaign. It's a 5-day campaign. Of course, this starts Home Value Week today. So if you wanted to start your people on a home value drip campaign, you can certainly do that with How Much Is Your Home Worth, talking about buyer demand, what's selling in your area, talks about the equity component, and of course, the monthly home update. I'll show you one of these here so you can see what that looks like. And then, of course, this is the drip campaign that just says sign up for monthly home updates. Some of these have images, some of these just have text, but these are great emails to send out. If you're interested in sending out this particular drip campaign, if your contacts are in RWT Connect, you just have to hit add contacts and groups down here, and you can add people by individual contact, or you can add them by group. Or my favorite fun tip, as you know, when I'm dealing with action plans, is if you just type the word all, it'll actually subscribe everybody in your database to this particular drip campaign, and you can send out this to everybody starting today. These are not dated. So if you don't want to start these this week and you want to push for How Much Is Your Home Worth, maybe in another week or two, that's totally okay. So these aren't dated, so you can send these out at any time. Just know that they will run for 5 days in a row. All right. Whew. Gave you a lot of the information, gave you a lot of different things that you can do with that home value site. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Buyside dashboard instead. So let me go. Here we go. I am in the Buyside dashboard right now. I happen to be logged in as one of our agents today. And I want to show you the different components of Buyside in addition to the home value site. Of course, we're talking a lot about lead generation in the home value site, but there's a lot of different tools that are available within Buyside as well. The next one that I want to go to, now that we're in the Buyside dashboard, is something right up here at the very top called the BMA. That is the Buyer Market Analysis. This is the agent professional version of the public-facing home value site. So this is something that you could take on a listing presentation. In fact, we encourage everyone to take it on a listing presentation. You can also use this for prospecting. We have some agents who have done some really unique things by maybe doing the 20 homes around a particular address if somebody has looked, and they've actually sent them an envelope with buyer market analysis in them with a little bit of letter on with a little letter with it. But there's lots of different things that you can do with this buyer market analysis. I'm going to go ahead and use that same address that I used on the public facing side just so you can kind of see what that looks like. So it's going to try to start to guess what I'm putting in here again. Going to allow me to edit this property. So again, I'm taking this maybe on a listing presentation. So if I know for a fact that this home has 2.5 baths, and maybe I know that it has 4 bedrooms instead, I can certainly change that information, and I can change the property type if I need to. For those of you who are dealing with a lot of condos and townhouses, watch that property type. It isn't always 100% sure what to do with some of our fee simple condos that we have in our area. It's really unique to our area, so you may have to change your property type if one isn't listed on there. You can choose which data points you want to bring with you. So if one is completely random and it doesn't seem to be right, I've had that happen on occasion before, you can certainly not bring it with you, but you can just click those and choose which ones you want to bring. It's also giving you the option to put in your estimate about what you think this property might be worth. So what you are thinking about. So I'm just going to pop in a couple of values here. It's going to find the buyer. So right now I have 14 buyers in the system. If that number is a little bit low, you can certainly go ahead and drag these bars out a little bit. It's going to try to find some more buyers. And then I'm going to go ahead and generate the PDF. This is the longest piece of this. It takes about a minute to generate this PDF, but there's a lot of things we can do with this PDF. And again, this is a really nice professional presentation. We can certainly go ahead and print this out. It does come in PDF, so it's really easy to insert into any kind of presentation you're building. You can certainly add it to a PowerPoint if you're working with the home buyer and home seller PowerPoints that are available in Marketing Resource. You can certainly use this to print and bind. It went ahead and downloaded directly for me just because that's how my system is set up. If it doesn't automatically download for you, you can certainly click View Report, or it will have a pop-up that says, do you want to save it? I'm going to open this information here, and I want you to see that it's just generic information. It is fully branded with all of our agent information on it, including the home value site, including websites. Why list with the company? Just some basic information. Real-time evaluations, and here's your suggested market value. There's that buyer heat map again that's showing the different options. So darker the color, the more buyer the activity, more buyer activity here. There is our cone that's showing all the different online activities. There it is by bedroom, and of course by price range. And the buyers in the system. Now remember, the buyers in the system at this point in time are still anonymized. So this is intended to be a public facing report. So again, this is something we might want to take on a listing presentation. We can talk about those buyers. We can talk about the fact that if they list with you, that you are going to go back to the office. Couple of things that you're going to do. We're going to talk about coming soon listings here in just a second, but also that you're going to be able to contact the agents behind these buyer IDs and start to generate interest on the home that you are potentially listing. Because remember, all of that information is available to you on the other side as far as which agent has put it into the system. You actually have access to a little bit more information about these buyers as well, but it still remains anonymous for you as an agent on the other side as well. So great report to take with us. Just so you know, I'm not gonna leave you out there. I do have a prompt included on here that will be on there as well for trying to explain this BMA. Great little prompt here. We've used it in the past before. It says, I'm a real estate agent preparing for a listing appointment. I have a buyer market analysis report for the property, and here's the address. The report shows what's going on. Here's some other stats. Translate the numbers into a story about buyer demand. Explain why having this data is an advantage, and compare this with what other agents can offer. So this is giving you the script on how to explain this report if you're sitting in front of somebody in a listing presentation. So it says, let me show you something that most agents can't show you. And this is where things get really interesting. So based on this report, we have 10 buyers actively searching. Just kind of goes into different options here. So we're showing different buyer activity and how it's increasing. A lot of agents will say I have buyers, but what they really mean is they know people who will wait for somebody to show up. What I'm showing you is here is different. This is actual data, real people, real price ranges, bedroom needs, search behavior, all of this. And so it's going to close with a good call to action. This is just giving you that script just to kind of get your mind around what this buyer market analysis contains, and just kind of gives you that little push to be able to make sure that you're covering all the different points about that buyer presentation. And what is contained in it and all the different value that you bring by having access to these buyers within the RW Town network as well. So again, just giving you that little script to be able to give you that confidence in that listing presentation. All right, that's the BMA. So we're getting into the rest of the kind of nuts and bolts of the Buyside system here. Once we have the home value site, and hopefully we have identified which home buyer was looking for something. We to make an appointment, so we took PMA with us, and we were able to secure that listing. Maybe we know that they need to do some paint or repair. We want to maybe do some staging. Maybe we need to unclutter some things before we list it. So we maybe know it's going to be listed in another 2 weeks or so. But we have all of our paperwork signed. We know it's coming on the market. We're going to want to go ahead and come back to the office, and we are going to want to do 2 things. We are going to want to add it as a coming soon in the system. And we're also going to want to start to contact those agents and get that buyer-seller match working within the system. So all the way up at the top here on the Buyside dashboard is something called an add button up here. And we can do one of 2 things. We can either add a buyer or add a listing. I'm going to take a look at adding a listing first, and then we'll look at the buyers. So of course, this is the coming soon listing. You should see something that looks like this. Now, in some of your offices, some of your admins are doing your coming soons, and in some of your office, some of your agents are doing your coming soons. So however your office is managing your coming soon listings, just follow those instructions from your manager, of course. When we add a coming soon listing, we have a lot of different options. We can keep the street address viewable by all users, or it can be confidential. Normally within our own system, we have it viewable by all users, but I have seen confidential. It's up to you. You just need to enter the address, the county, and the school district in here. Now, you need to enter this information as we kind of go down, because this is going to be the information that helps match us to those buyers. And it's going to be a percentage match, which is something I really like. Just as a quick note, if you're having trouble with an address because it's a new construction, or maybe the street doesn't exist yet, or maybe it's something odd like a rural lot number, just let us know down here in web support. We'll see what we can do. This does need to match some kind of property record. And if the property record doesn't exist yet, we sometimes have to get them to do a system override for us. You're going to want to put in the number of bedrooms and the baths, property type. Notice that these are the only required pieces here. You also have the options of course, the age, the lot size, your listing description. Remember, your listing description should always be just public remarks, no agent information in here. You're going to want to put the asking price when it is live in the MLS. Of course, live in the MLS and the date that it goes, the date that showings will start on should always be the same date. We don't use the offers reviewed on very much right now, but we certainly were using it when we were in a very, very hot market. Please put an image in here. So if you have gone out on a listing presentation, just grab a really pretty, front shot of the home. If you don't have your professional photos yet, or maybe it has a great pool area or a really great kitchen feature that they've remodeled or whatever it happens to be, grab a couple of really nice cell phone photos. And even if you just add one, it makes a big difference. Once you click this add listing button, excuse me, this is going to go out as an individual email to everybody in our system. So that's everybody in the company. And it's going to say, hey, there's a new coming soon listing at 123 Main Street. Hopefully you guys have all seen those coming soon notifications. It's also going to go out on the hot sheet that comes out at the end of the day. So if it has a photo, we know that people tend to click on the ones that have photos more than the ones that don't. So just know that it has a small thumbnail in our hot sheet that lists all this coming soon listings and all the buyers that have been added into the system during the day. And it is more clickable when you add a photo. So even if it's just one, go ahead and add it. You can add up to 20 images in here as well. Well, last time I had this class, I accidentally listed the Death Star and sent it out to the entire company. So we are not going to go through an example today. All right. So that coming soon listing has gone out. And now the next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to talk about the buyers. I'm going to go back to the dashboard real quick. And this is going to be the homepage of Buyside. And I want you to see that we don't have any buyers in this particular account right now. But here on the bottom here, we have all of our listings. Now, these listings all have an MLS ID attached to them, which means they're all active. Here's what happens when you add a coming soon into the system. As soon as you add coming soon into the system, it is going to show up in this My Listings dashboard right here. And it's going to have a really unique ID that starts with CL for coming soon listing. Once that listing goes into the MLS, the system knows to remove the coming soon listing and essentially replace it with the actual listing with the MLS ID. So you're not going to lose any data. It's just going to literally flip the switch from the coming soon listing over to the MLS ID. So it all works the same. Even if you put a coming soon listing in here, it's going to start the buyer match process. So we can see if there are buyer matches in the system. If we click anything on the matches here, and we have 4 in this particular home. Give it a second to pull up. And here's where we start to get into all that anonymized data. So this is showing us the listing here, and it's showing that there are 4 buyers that match in the system. Remember, I said that this was going to be a percentage match. So sometimes this will work, sometimes this won't. Sometimes the percentage match doesn't necessarily mean that the match isn't going to work. It just means that the agent hasn't put a lot of information about their buyer in it, so the matching is just a little less. You can, as an agent, do a couple of things from here. You can send out a blanket email to those buyer agents and send an email that says, hey, I have a listing for your buyer. I will tell you, people ignore those. The best thing that you can do is to find out who those agents actually are in the system and give them a call or drop them a personal note. So for this one and this particular listing, there's a 92% match. There's that buyer ID. Remember, that buyer ID was probably what showed up on the BMA or on the public facing side. And this is showing us that this person here, okay, the agent that put this in the system in this particular case was Julie Fish. She's letting us know that this is what their target price range is. And again, she's provided all this information for her clients. Must be move-in ready in an established neighborhood. Areas of interest include all of this information here, and similar areas. So they're looking for, obviously, for something very specific. If you had a coming soon listing and you were looking at this buyer match and you saw that this matched the comments or the locations that they were looking for, and certainly the price range, I would be picking up the phone and I would talk to Julie and say, hey, don't know if you missed it, but I had that coming soon listing I put in the computer about 30 minutes ago. Would love to see if your buyers are interested in this. It seems to be a good match, and start to make those matches. One of the best things about putting the buyers into the system within our company is that our company is so large and so influential in our area that not only do the buyers look amazing on those reports for our agents who are taking those listings, but also for our buyer agents, you never know where the listings are going to come from, and for our selling agents, you never know where the buyers are going to come from across the company. I have done this class as a live example before with other agents, and had a listing that was put in as a coming soon that was in Denby. And the agent who had the matching buyer was all the way down in our Lynn Haven office. Our agent was working with an investor in our area that was looking specifically for a certain price range and a certain type of home because they had a fairly large rental portfolio around a lot of our military bases. And the home that was listed by our agent up in Williamsburg that was coming soon was a great match right outside, the Fort Eustis area up there. And they were able to make that connection. In the past, you would have only ever had this buyer data available to you, or these listing data available to you in things like internal emails or in your sales meetings and things like that. But we are so interconnected in our company, you never know where those different agents are going to be. And this helps facilitate all of that communication between our various offices. Because again, we want to make sure that we get these buyers into our listings, and we want to make sure that we get our listings in front of our buyers as well. Want to show you how you can add a buyer to the system really quickly here. So if you go up to the top and hit add, you can actually add a buyer. And I'd like to show you guys what the buyer profile looks like first, just so that you can, this makes a little more sense. It's going to ask you some basic information here. School districts, cities or zip codes where they're interested in looking, the number of bedrooms and bathrooms that they're looking for. And again, anytime you see a bold, that means it's required, but all the rest of this stuff just helps the matching in the system. This is why I was saying that just because somebody is a 30% match doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad match. It just means that maybe the agent hasn't put in quite as much information for that match in general. Based on their time frames, sometimes putting in things like the property condition, like turnkey, can be important. I always use the example of, say you have someone who is moving into the area and they need to move in very, very quickly. They don't have time for renovations. If I was putting them in my system, I would certainly want to put in something like turnkey, just so that agents on the other end would know that they couldn't handle something like a remodel. Public comments should always be obviously public comments. It should never violate any kind of fiduciary responsibility to your agents, for your buyers, excuse me. This could be something like really needs a fenced yard because they have 2 dogs. It could be something like really wants to be in a particular school district. It could be something like it needs deep water at low tide because they have a big boat. It could be all sorts of different things that are just general comments that might make the matching process easier. Notice this is not required. So if you don't want to put any comments about what somebody is looking for, you don't have to. But if it would be something that would help just with that matching process or the communication with other agents, you could certainly put it in here. There is some financial options in here about whether they're pre-qualified cash or none, minimum and maximum price range, purchase by. This just helps expire buyers into the system with the purchase by the way. And then what type of buyer and potentially payment of information here. One of the top questions that I get fairly often is I don't want to give away my client's positioning with their pre-qualification. That's okay. This is not a legal document in any way, shape, or form. If you don't want to put a really tight price range in here, it's okay. If you don't want to put 500 to 550 right here, just because it would give away the positioning for your client, go ahead and put 400 to 700. Just know that some of the matches aren't going to make it. It's totally up to you what you want to put in this in this box right here. You'll just get communications more often. On this bottom section here with the buyer details, you'll want to click on Alert Me and not put on Do Not Alert Me or my client, and do not alert the client directly, please. Please do not alert the client directly. Just keep it on that Alert Me, and you can hit Add Buyer. So again, it took me longer to explain than how long it's going to take you to actually put in information about the buyer. The buyer then goes into our buyer match system. The buyer match system actually works exactly the same way as the listings, but instead of listings over here on the bottom, your buyers show up at the top up here with the listings that match them and the agents that have those listings, including the coming soons. You can search buyers and coming soons at any time under this Find button up here at the top. If you go to find buyers into the system, if you want to look outside of a coming soon listing, maybe the coming soon isn't quite ready yet, maybe the paperwork isn't signed, but you just kind of want a hint as to what might be available out there, you can certainly go ahead and just search our buyer data in the system. And again, here's that anonymized data again. You can't see the names in the system. You can just see the numbers and of course the agent. So this particular agent is Zena Ward, and she has somebody who's looking in this information. And her general comments, here's a good one. Doesn't have to have a garage, but needs a driveway. That's very relevant information on here. On there. You can find the coming soon listings the same way. So find non-MLS listings in our case means ones that aren't in the MLS yet. Those are the coming soons. And so of course, here are coming soons that we have for the company currently in the system. So we have a pretty hefty amount of coming soons that will hopefully be listed in the next 2 weeks in our system here as well. All right, last but certainly not least on Buyside here, I want to show you the marketing section, which is this home valuation site up here at the top. If you click that button, it is going to give you a couple of different things here. If you're not sure what your link is to your home value site, or you do not have a site builder website, this is how you get your link. So you'll go ahead and just click this Preview My Site button, and it will bring up your link, and you can certainly use this link at any time. And again, just reiterating, make sure you see your photo, make sure you see your name on here, or it's not the correct link. You'll always want to share something with your name on it. You also have a couple of other options in here. There are copy and paste options to be able to add this to your email signature. A number of our agents have this in their email signature. Think outside the box on this one. You can certainly add this to any e-cards as well, or you could add it to maybe even your social signatures as well. There's some easy buttons to be able to share this link directly on social media. These aren't connected. They're just links to basically be able to open it up. Question we get fairly often is add this to my website. Remember, I said that these were already built into the site builder websites, so you won't need this widget for your website because we've already built it into all the site builder websites. And for those of you who are interested in starting to work with QR codes on some postcards or flyers, or even if you want to add it to some social, you can download the QR code for this site to make sure that it's correct directly from the system right here. You can hit download QR. It will go ahead and download the QR code for this. It's a great PNG. This works perfectly fine in ExpressDocs or CoreFact or anything else. this is a high enough resolution to be able to use on postcards. All right, we've talked about a lot today. We've talked about the home value site. We've talked about the BMA. We've talked about the buyer and seller matching. We've talked about the coming soon and how to find people into the system. This is an amazing system that works if everybody works the system. If you guys put your buyers in, it really helps with those reports, and it really makes the home value site hum for of you guys for listing, for doing lead generation. And of course, being able to have that intercommunication with all of our agents when we start with that matching between the buyers and sellers, especially if they're not in your office, is so important to us. So that concludes what I have to say about Buyside today. Again, we're available for any questions you have. Feel free to check in with your ASCs in your office, or you can contact us at Marketing and Web Support. We're here to help you with anything we've talked about today, either the tool itself or anything that we've talked about for marketing and connections. Did anybody have any additional questions? Let me go back into the chat here and see what we have. So we wanted to know about learning more about subscribing people to the updates. Okay. If you are on your home value site, this actually works for you as well. You can go ahead and add first name, last name, and email address in here, and hit get now. It'll basically just go ahead and subscribe people. We also have a bulk upload into here. We basically need the same information. We would need first name, last name, email address, and also the property address. Remember, you have to have the property address in order to subscribe people to marketing updates. Let me grab my chat again. Hold on one second here. Okay. There we go. How do we get this buyer activity heat map information? All you have to do is either do the BMA or go on your public facing site and be able to enter an address, and it'll go ahead and pop up. Oh, thank you for my Facebook account name. I had to find something that would not get deleted by Facebook. Please share the call to action and links in the chat or email. I will make sure that we get this information out to you guys. And what's the email for asking questions later? You can send it to websupport@rwtown.com. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have. The home value updates, to be more specific. That's that same monthly report. Okay. So if you guys don't have any additional questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the class today. Hopefully you guys have learned so much about Buyside. Go ahead and use the tool. I wish you a lot of luck in lead generation. I cannot wait to see the number of listings that we get over the next few weeks, just by encouraging people to check the value of their home. Again, thank you for joining me today, and I can't wait to see you at the next Learning Lab.